Hey, what's up everybody? Prospector here with Watcher Realms. Today I'm on the test server. I'm going to be showing you how to triple S the Arbiter of Frost and kind of like the minimum requirements it's going to require, plus a whole lot of tips along the way helping you kind of strategize your own team and getting this done. Before I do that, I want to let you know that only 15% of my viewers are subscribed. I really appreciate it if you go and hit that like and subscribe button if you found this video helpful. You could always unsubscribe later on. But anyways, let's dig in. Alright, Arbiter of Frost. Let's go over his kit quick. First off, we're going to start with, when a hero applies a buff by casting skills, they will be frozen permanently. Kind of leads to a problem with like Dolores, you know, Autumn, all kinds of heroes that cast buffs to your team, and that will permanently freeze them. All heroes' redeployment time increases by 60 seconds, so it could be like 2 minutes first time they die. After dealing continuous damage to the Arbiter of Frost or Cryocore, the hero restores their HP. The Arbiter of Frost possesses high physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction. In the boss rush phase, heroes gain attack speed, increase, and restore increased HP by dealing continuous damage. So they can kind of heal themselves up, so you don't really need a healer. You just need to make sure that they're doing continuous damage. Alright, on his first skill, it's a passive. Once the Arbiter of Frost enters the boss rush phase, Frost Tempest will deal damage 2 times. The Arbiter of Frost gains extra physical damage reduction and magic damage reduction. Cryo Flesh Vulnerability, another passive. The Arbiter of Frost receives increased continuous damage, so he's more vulnerable to continuous damage as he goes along. The Cryocore Amass. The Arbiter of Frost will amass a Cryocore, which must be destroyed within 15 seconds. If it's destroyed, the amassing stops, and the Arbiter of Frost suffers enhanced Cryo Flesh Vulnerability for 15 seconds. And just a vulnerability mode, like you just, you know, like when the guild boss kind of goes down if you take a shield out, it's kind of the same thing. Not destroyed, the Cryocore will explode, dealing AoE damage 1 time, and the Arbiter of Frost attack will increase. It gets an attack buff if you don't take it down. You can kind of survive one, but it's really tough to survive the second. Once the Arbiter of Frost enters the boss rush phase, hero's attack will be reduced for 15 seconds and the boss gains an enhanced attack increase. Each Cryocore amassed will have increased HP, physical damage reduction, and magic damage reduction. Further, the longer you get on the fight, every single time a Cryocore comes up, it gets harder and harder to take down. It's pretty straightforward. Frost Tempest. The Arbiter of Frost periodically releases Frost Tempest, dealing damage 1 time to all enemies on the field. In the boss rush phase, Frost Tempest deals damage 2 times. Now this is on a test server, so it's not really showing popular heroes, but I wonder if there's any on here. You're gonna see like Twinfiend, Zillitu, Anai. Nisalt is almost a requirement. You want to make sure you have a Nisalt on every team. He's on every meta team that I could think of. I don't think anybody ever pulls him off. He has plenty and plenty of damage over time, or DOT they call it. Now, I'll go over a few here. Twinfiend is there to kind of burst damage the Cryocore later on in the fight, but early on, you can kind of use him in between the Cryocores and just do a load of damage to the boss. If you're trying to triple S, I would assume that you pretty much know what's going on with Focus Fire and Twinfiend, Pyros, and Soul Cadence. Any one of those will do. Twinfiend just seems the easiest to work with, especially at A1. Anai, she is probably the best hero. Basic attack has a 20% chance of inflicting burning on a target. The hero deals 50% more damage to targets inflicted with burning. Damage over time. I'm gonna self-heal. I'm gonna do a ton of damage, go through the high defenses of the enemy, and she's gonna be able to target his HP directly with burning, which deals 20% continuous magic damage per second. Burning effects from different sources can coexist. On the ult, she basically just inflicts more stacks of burning as she's going along, and just more and more burning and damage over time. But there's something I have to tell you about Anai. She will work good for you on any team, but if you're gonna really try to push for triple S on Arbiter of Frost, it's almost required that she's Awakened 3. She gets this damage increase of up to 30% for every time the burning on the target deals damage. The damage increase effect lasts for 10 seconds when reaching the upper limit, and will reset after the duration ends. On the Awakening 1, she has targets inflicted with burning by the hero also receive magic resistance reduction. So they're going to be taking more magic damage, which is really important because everybody's going to be doing like burning and magic damage on the team. Awaken 2 is plus 300 attack. It does get a little better. The chances of basic attack applying burning increases by 10%. and the duration of burning inflicted by the hero increases by 2 seconds. Now we have something similar going on with Zillitu, where she's putting on burns. When triggered, deals 380% extra damage in larger range for 35 seconds, inflicting burning every time the hero attacks. So every time she hits, she gets burned. The effect duration is increased by 1 second for every kill during the skill. She can't really increase the effect duration on this, besides the fact that Zillitu is just a damage monster, especially paired with an Infernal Lord. But on the Awakenings, which I didn't awaken her on this because I wanted to prove that you only needed an Anai 3 and not Zillitu. But Awakening 1, Soul Siphoning's remaining HP required is lowered to 70%. Awakening 2 is some extra crit damage. And Awakening 3, Will of Hegemony, duration plus 10 seconds. That's her ult. Keeps her in her ult form a lot longer. It's a crazy difference. You'd be surprised how much that 10 seconds make a difference. And then after that, she's not really getting much except for a little bit of rage regen and a little bit of HP recovery. For Nisalt, when deployed, starts using Alchemy. Produces 3 magic vials every 10 seconds. Re-enter Alchemy state after all vials are consumed. The more the poison vials produced, the higher the damage, up to 40% damage. The more the combustible vials produced, the more targets the fire can spread to. The effect will be reset when enemy is re-triggered. On the basic, he throws a magic vial at one enemy, dealing 240% magic damage and inflicting a burning or poison effect for 5 seconds. So you can put on either burning or poison. You wake him up to level 1, he gets an extra second. Scalding Tonic, magic vials can trigger a reaction between burning and poison inflicted on enemies and cause toxic fire, which deals 50% magic damage per second, which can be considered as burning. Burning effects from different sources can coexist. And then on his ult, during the ultimate, gains infinite magic vials for 25 seconds. He's just a beast for this kind of stage. You get all that damage over time. Now there is some other interesting options that I want to call out. Things like Alistair and Praetus for Radiant Erosion. Praetus is really good at bringing down the Cryocore. Ingrid can do it a little bit too. She's does a ton of damage, especially single target. Then we have like the Nightmare Faction team, which has Arrogance. So you could actually pull out Twinfiend and just put down Arrogance, and he will do a lot of burns, a lot of damage. You can get like SS plus range. I've tried it. The higher the awakenings on all these guys, if you have them like really highly awakened, you could probably pull off a triple S. If you have like Zillitu, like A3, Anai, A3 to A5, and then you have your Arrogance from somewhere between A3 to A5, then you're going to be able to probably triple S the boss. And it's going to be a little easier than the comp that I'm going to show you. Now, the secret with Dolores. Some of you may have probably already seen this, but I have to cover it. So when that Cryocore comes up, for whatever reason, I don't really know if it's in the wording of his kit or what, but when the Cryocore comes up, Dolores can buff the team with Inspiration. So right when it comes up, it comes in the visual, you want to hit her ult as soon as it comes up. That means, unless your heroes are really overkilling it with gear and awakenings and max out skills, all that good stuff, you're gonna have to re-roll this boss a bunch of times, because in order to really push the damage up really high, what needs to happen is that after this 50 seconds after being deployed, permanently increases basic attacks healing multiplied by 5 seconds, 5%. Graceful Dancing will have a 50% chance to increase the hero's rage by 300 when it ends. When you're awakened 5, it goes up to 80%. You need to have that 80% hit almost every time. You can get away with 1, maybe early on, something like that. And she needs to get that 300 rage back, which is right around 50%, after every time she uses the ult. It's the only way that I've seen. I haven't seen anybody try to run without Dolores. It's going to make a huge difference as far as your damage goes, damage output. But you can alter right when the Cryocore hits. And I'll show you how to use Twinfiend as well. The basic kind of attack you want to go through. I might not be able to hit triple S during this video, but at least I can show you the strategy behind it, and you can keep trying to re-roll. I did manage to hit triple S. Okay, so placing your heroes down. Whatever you may have seen, Elowyn doesn't need to heal anybody, but she is in an invigoration set, and you want to give somebody an invigoration boost. But she can be off on any tile, and as long as she's on some tile, she's going to be restoring 3% rage throughout the battle to all the heroes on the map. And that's very important. So, we're going to go ahead and start out with Zillitu. I'm going to put down Dolores, and then I'm going to put down Anai right here. And then I'm going to put down Elowyn over here in this corner. See, Anai is within Dolores range, and so is Zillitu. And then we're going to place down Twinfiend. Then we're going to put little Nisalt over here. As soon as you can, go ahead and activate Zillitu and Twinfiend. I might re-roll this on the video so you can see what I'm doing. But essentially, what you want to do is try to take down this boss down to 0. It looks like we're going to make it before he brings up the first cryo core. Okay? And then right when he comes up, he's going to boost up the cryo core, and right when you see it show up, go ahead and hit Dolores, and you see nobody's frozen. Then her ult will last after the cryo core is gone and everybody's good to go. Now I will try to hit Twinfiend in between here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with Dolores RNG. We're just going to work with what we have and see what happens regardless. Okay, so if she doesn't come up over 50%, like she just hit 54 when she came out of her ult, that was good RNG. If it's down in the 20s, not good. You want them to be over 50 every time, especially if you're really struggling, you're really early in the mid game, and you're running maybe a Pyros. You really need Dolores to be ulting every cryo core. Here comes the cryo core. It's up. Hit it. We're gonna wait for Twinfiend. I'm gonna hit Zillitu. Right when that cryo core goes down, hit Twinfiend. That strategy will change a little later on in the fight. You're gonna have to use Twinfiend's ult, the Meteoric Strike, on the cryo core, which leads me into another point that I have to explain. You don't want to hit Twinfiend on the early cryo cores unless he can finish off his ult in time before the cryo core disappears. If you do hit it and he doesn't finish off that ult and hit him with the focus fire, the focus fire is just wasted. Okay? So make sure, I said Dolores right there landed at 56% or 54%. Make sure that your Twinfiend or your whatever Infernal Blast Lord that you're using can finish his ult before the cryo core goes away. Otherwise, save it for after. So far, it's a really good run. We have about you could try if you have about almost 500k at 4 minutes. That's when you know you're doing really well. If you built your Twinfiend or your Infernal Lord really fast and high rage regen, you can go ahead and try to hit his ult in between. Just keep in mind that damage over time is what's keeping your heroes alive. And if they're not putting up all these burns up here, and whatever poison vials he's putting on there too, sometimes he'll put poison up, they won't be healing themselves. But you do have Elowyn with a little wood elf in the bottom corner too that you could always use. There's another good roll. Maybe this will be a good first run. Sometimes I get to run it 7-8 times. I'm going to show you how to handle the bad RNG as well, so you can have an easier time re-rolling the RNG in between fights. You cannot just hit the reset. Here we go again. Next cryo core is up. Right when it pops up, hit Dolores. After it goes down, hit Twinfiend. Damage is stacking. Everybody right now is in focus fire, but they're going to come out of it. Dolores has a little bit of ult left. Everybody has inspiration. Well, except for Nisalt. We have another good roll on Dolores. Amazing, if you ask me. Comes the cryo core. There it is. Just like before, we're going to go ahead and hit it. Come on, cryo core, get out of here. Was very close. Now it's down, hit Twinfiend. Now we're at S. If you're... You have to watch your other heroes too, because we're going to have Anai over here. She's going to be ulting on auto. So adjust her rage regen a little bit. Adjust her attack speed sometimes. You might want to either add more or reduce some to try to make that ult time at certain times. Especially later on in the fight, it's more important. So you're gonna have to like play into the fight and see how it's going, see where she's ulting, change your rage regen, change your attack speed, and then go back in and see if it lands a little better for you. you do want that ult to land. The Cryo Core. Comes the next Cryo Core, I believe. There it is. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hit Twinfiend's ult this time. We do nice massive chunk damage to it. There you go. Come on, get it down. We're at S+. See what Dolores rolls here. 54, that's nice. Unbelievable luck. It's like playing at a casino to try to get this to work right, believe me. Alright, so everybody should be ready for the next Cryo Core to come up. It looks like Anai is about ready to use her ult, so she should be ulting during the shield. Here it comes. Go ahead and activate Dolores and Twinfiend. Should go down, I believe. Unless we've got like some bad luck here. Come on. No, looks like we're gonna get hurt. Here's another little tip. You can go ahead and hit that. Put 2 healers out here. Try to survive a little longer. Just a little bit of adjustment on your gear. That happens. Dolores is on a perfect RNG roll here. This whole fight, she's rolled that ult perfectly every single time. Very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and activate Zillitu. And it goes back to what I said though. If you have everybody sealed out, you just have to maybe awaken them a little bit further. Maybe the gear is not quite high enough. You know, whatever it might be. But it is very endgame. This boss is a pain in the rear. If you're getting like an SS plus and you're early to mid game, you're probably doing great. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. There you go. We wiped with an SS. It happens. So what you would do is you just try to re-roll it, mess with your gear a little bit, build up their attack a little bit. I'm gonna go a little more into the builds that I have going on here, especially the ones that I did decide to run with, and explain the story behind them. Alright, but we had Anai here at 132 million. She can do a lot more than that, of course. So can Zillitu. We didn't quite make it there with that last shield, which is fine. Got the point across. I really want to just give you the tips. I really want to give you the strategy so you can try to figure it out on your own account. I didn't want to go ahead and awaken all these heroes. Zillitu and awaken 3 and it'd be over. Twinfiend a little higher and it'd be over. You know. Okay, so before I go into the gear, I want to show you what you should do if Dolores' RNG rolls bad. Alright, so I'll put the heroes down quick, just like before. This is what I did different, I think. I had Twinfiend off to the left side, which is fine too. But say you go through the fight and all of a sudden, like the first 2 or 3 ults, Dolores goes ahead and she rolls at 20% after her ult is used. And you're like, okay, well, I'll just try again and hit this restart button. Don't hit the restart button because the match is already predetermined how Dolores is going to roll. So you need to go and quit all the way out of the battle. I'd like to go even a little further. Back out of the Arbiter of Frost screen. Go back in and then try to fight again. Here we'll go complete. We'll back out here. Then I'll go back to the Arbiter of Frost and I'll hit challenge and I'll go in again. So that it kind of explains how to reroll that RNG. So let's say if Dolores ults the 2 times and then the 3rd time she only has 20% of her rage, then you're gonna need to reset like that. But if you use the reset button, the next fight she will do an ult 2 times, and then the 3rd time she's only gonna restore 20% of her rage, just like the fight you just did. That is predetermined when you go into the fight, and the only way to reset that is to exit all the way out and go back in. So keep that in mind. Now, kind of min-maxing these heroes. With Anai, I went with Soulbound Arcana set, Warlord on the left side. Warlord is really good for this because it's got a little bit of attack speed in there. You can go ahead and you can just build them like normal DPS units. The attack percentage up really high. Crit damage nice as high as you can get it. 1.5 second attack interval. You could try to bring her down to like a 1.3, maybe put her on attack speed amulet. If you can keep her attack high enough, it does work just fine. But I did get that 1.9 or whatever it was, a score I had with this build. And it's in a crit damage, attack percentage main, attack bonus main, attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, rage regen, attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, rage regen, and attack speed, crit rate, attack bonus, and rage regen. On the left side, I go crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, flat attack if you can get it, crit rate, crit damage, attack bonus. Now, if you are trying to do the attack speed version of Anai, you'd probably want to go with an attack speed, crit rate, attack bonus weapon, and that way you can get a little extra speed and bring her attack interval down to a 1.3, which is also very nice. Twinfiend. I build him like a normal DPS with this comp. I don't like to try to ult in between. I want to get those damage over times up, and I don't want him interrupting the other heroes during that. So I have him in 0% rage and just 200 attack speed with crit capped, high crit damage, high attack. 16.3k attack, 381 crit damage, 1.2 attack interval, and I'm running a Soulbound Arcana with Warlord set. Same kind of gear, all the way through. Very endgame gear. You can see this running very endgame gear, and there's still a really high chance of failing, even with Dolores' RNG being perfect. So you have to understand that all of that stuff has to be timed just right in order for this to work. Also, a few awakenings wouldn't hurt. Alright, for Zillitu, I did run her in an Infernal Lords set. You could just opt to choose to put her in a Soulbound Arcana set, it doesn't hurt anything. But she does get the 40% benefit in all her stuff from Infernal Roar. So attack bonus, attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, some rage regen. Attack bonus, attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, some more rage regen. Attack speed, crit rate, attack bonus with flat attack, and a crit damage main. Same kind of gear on the left side though, it's going to be crit rate, crit damage, attack bonus, and a Warlord set. For an Assault, he is an epic. So as long as you have high priority, as high as you can get it for attack, he's only at 3,561 attack, which means it's going to be really hard to get that attack percentage nice and high. We already know that the boss has really high defenses and physical damage and magic damage reduction. So getting his attack as high as you can is very important. There's two ways to build him, just like Anai. You can either build him really fast, put him on attack speed amulet. Maybe you can even try to experiment with a whirlwind set on the left side. But you still want to put a lot of emphasis on his attack. You can put a lot of extra rage regen on him so he's ulting more often, putting more poison and burns on the boss as much as possible. And then for Elowyn, doesn't matter what her set is in, as long as she survives the fight and she's in an invigoration set. The same thing for Dolores, you want to put her in an invigoration set, and you want to have her in a calamity or warlord set on the left side. Standard Dolores build her up attack as high as you can get it. Don't worry about rage regen. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. If you find that she's not ulting even when she does get the good RNG in time for the cryo core when it first comes up, then I guess give her some. Now for artifacts, she's going to be in a golden scarab. Nisalt is going to be in a Tear of Twilight. Twinfiend is also going to be in his exclusive artifact, Devil's Gaze. Basic attack restores 1.7 rage. You could just decide to run him in a Tear of Twilight if you have one laying around. Anai, Tear of Twilight, Eyes you can get him, and Zillitu. There's two heroes that I really talk about which artifacts you're going to be running the most, and that's going to be Zillitu, and it's going to be Elowyn. For Zillitu, Blaze of Talkio is very, very nice for this. Increases the duration of the burning effect inflicted by the hero by 3 seconds. Deals 30% more damage to targets inflicted with burning. So she gets a 30% damage boost almost throughout the whole fight. You can see burns are on the bar up there the whole time. And at the same time, her burns are going to last for 3 seconds longer. It's really crazy. Like she's going to be doing that dot damage over and over and over again. And then she's going to be they're going to be just lingering there on the bar up top. So very, very nice gear. Even if it's lower level, I would still run it at level 10 or whatever. But maybe you have her awakened a little higher and it works out for you to have her bait maybe into a Wailing Skull instead, which is also a very good option, as always, with Zillitu. Now, the big one might surprise you. Elowyn, you're gonna put her in a Euphoric Orb, which I didn't have her in. But she doesn't need any extra healing. She doesn't need any more rage regen to pop off her ults or anything like that. She doesn't need any more attack. You just do whatever she can do to support on the side. Her biggest thing is restoring the rage for her allies by 3% every 3 seconds for all allies. Very nice, it's very important. And in the artifact, she can give them a little bit more of a boost. Increases the attack speed of all heroes in range by 30 every 60 seconds, lasting for 40 seconds. Big difference. You'll notice it if you have it on her versus the Golden Scarab or whatever artifact you decide to run your Elowyn in. But it does require that it is like a level, I want to say level 22 at least. The amount of gains you get from level 22 to level 23 were huge, and if you could, try to make sure that you max out this artifact and put it on there. We're talking about a really hard boss, very end game. There's not much that we can do about it with the heroes that we have. Alright, so that's all I have for this video. I do hope you found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to join the Discord if you're having problems with this boss. I'm happy to help out. There's a lot of people in there that can give you some tips, some guides, and experiment a little bit, while you're at it. If you're running this team and it's not working quite right, maybe you need to work on the gear a little bit. Maybe you need to work on some artifacts a little bit. Maybe SS Plus is where you're at. And don't forget that you can run Pyros instead of Twinfiend and kind of do the same concept. Except Pyros can ult a little bit faster, so you might want to make him ult in between the cryo cores. Use Praetus as your lord if you have a Praetus, and then hit that cryo core. Just make sure you activate Dolores, Praetus' ult, and then hit his lord ability. All on that cryo core should smash him down on the ground pretty good. But anyways, that's it. That's all I have for the video. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep digging.